Everybody, welcome back. This is Dante, also known as Mecca Don the Don Mecca. Some may know me as Don, some may know me as Tay. During this time of the year, it is getting cold outside, which means it's getting slim for those schedules and calendars. But some may know me as Coach, some may know me as Ref. But if you know, you do know. You guys know what it is. We're in the age of cancel culture, judged by the court of public opinion. And I'll be careful with my words, but just in case I drop a noun, an expletive, an adjective, or even a pronoun or something out of pocket, which I try to get right, please don't hold me to it. You guys know what it is. I'm just here to pod. In true heDONism fashion, you guys know this is the season. Some call it Turkey Day. Some call it a season of Thanksgiving, or flat out being grateful for those and the things that we have come to obtain during this time of the year, but more importantly, our ability to give and give thanks. So that's no exception for today. As always, gratitude and thanksgiving for all of you for joining me. Yes, once again for another episode. I'll be honest and I'll be transparent with you guys. There are times where I really feel like unplugging. I don't feel like recording. Sometimes you just have to have the energy. Sometimes you just have to have the audacity. Sometimes you have to do extreme research just for a little piece of information, because checking is a thing. Whereas some people, it's not even about being true. It's just about being first. I've shared that with you guys in the past, but let me just keep it in scope, guys. I'm so grateful for you, and that's no exception for today. And I'll tell you once again, there are times where I really don't feel like it, but this is a goal set of mine, and I know I have to keep in path of that. Guys, over a month ago, approximately 2,000 servicemen and women, to include guardsmen, were on standby in supporting the Middle East and heightened security and tighten amid to the Israel and Hamas war. Well, let me just let you know the bell has rung. Now, Iraq already have boots on the ground from U.S. troops, but now the bear's been poked. What am I saying? And we got reinforcements on the way. Well, recently, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, CVN 69, the Mighty Ike, right? Slogan is to hit hard, hit fast, and most importantly, hit often. Along with them and their carrier group, the USS Gerald R. Ford, but for its namesake, the old Enterprise, which is now decommed, known as the Big E, are now set sail out in the Med and also the Atlantic. And the Enterprise, or the USS Gerald R. Ford, was commissioned after our 38th president. So what am I saying? Some of our shipmates, for those that were sailors and served in the United States Navy, are now packing haze gray and are underway. And we bid you following seas full speed ahead, guys, and you'll be in our thoughts and our prayers, for the bell has rung. Let me keep gratitude going with some of our servicemen and our servicewomen. Salute and shout out to those that are deployed, and for those also that are underway as we speak. Let me just pause here just for a second. You know, it's kind of tacky. Now, we are grateful. And when I say we, I'm representing the veterans. We are grateful, but over the past month, there was Veterans Appreciation, or Veterans Day, which actually fell on Saturday, but was acknowledged on Friday. Rock with me, if you will. So if you go out to some of your local restaurants or even some of your local department stores, they then offered a military discount for veterans. Some even offered a discount on food. Right? Now, some of you, shame on you. Some of you were going store to store, restaurant to restaurant to take advantage of the bennies for veterans. I see that kind of tacky, but yet I get it. Rock with me. If this is the only day out of 365 days where companies, enterprises, and franchises acknowledge veterans, I ain't mad at it. I still think, to me, it is a form of being tacky when you're given something free and you just overrun that welcome mat. But in the same breath, as a catch-22, I totally get it. Because if the iron is hot, strike. And this is a day where most companies do show appreciation. I think you get a donut. You maybe even get a sandwich somewhere. You even go to your local wing sports bar and grill and you get 6 wings for serving your country. I don't know if America really and truly understand what it is to have freedom as a country. But for those that have served, thank you. For those that are answering the bell for the call of duty, salute and thank you. So shout out to a near and dear gentleman that just so happened to be in the technology space. And let me be more specific, the Black technology space. And for those that know, you do know. But he's in that geek neat space along with myself. And I just want to shout him out. Maurice Hendricks. He got the bell rung for the call of duty. My brother, we wish you all the best. You'll be in our thoughts and prayers. But he got his call of duty papers recently and is en route as we speak. And he told me he would be tuning into the heDONizm podcast. So just sometimes when I'm feeling like the numbers are low, it's not making an impact. Maurice, it's people like you that make me say I can keep going with this dream. You remember what Biggie said, right? Remember rapping Duke. Daha, daha, you never thought that hip hop would take it this far. Well, guess what? I'm a derivative of hip hop. But not only that, I am a United States proud veteran. But not only Maurice, let me just keep it broad in the spectrum of gratitude when it comes to him. Salute to his Bravo Troop 108th Cavalry. Rock and roll, y'all. They got the call of duty as well, and they are near and dear to deployment, and they are asking for the smoke. And I'm going to tell some of these countries, you don't want no sauce with America. We locked and loaded. We hot and heavy. And we're like Little Caesar's pizza. We hot and ready. So be careful out there, guys. Get home safe, and we'll see you soon. Y'all go do what you know how to do and do it with excellence, and we'll see y'all in a minute. You know, guys, in keeping with gratitude, I am still grateful for those of you who have responded to me and said, hey, yes, I do go out for public entertainment, and we do go out to the movies. You know, I've had a campaign about Save the Cinemas, so I'm going to keep preaching that, especially after SAG-AFTRA have reached a deal for better bennies, streaming rights, AI control, and others that I can't even name right now because the list goes on and on and on. For the rights of the SAG and AFTRA group. But I had the opportunity to go see a movie over the weekend, and it was a prequel to The Hunger Games, The Ballad of the Songbird and Snakes. I'll say it again, The Ballad of the Songbird and Snakes. Do you realize how some movies now are taking a musical/song approach to their entertainment facet of motion picture? Well, Hunger Games gave you that. The Ballad of the Songbird and Snakes gave you that musical. And if I can put it in a genre or a category, it kind of gave you that country music vibe. It was dope. The young lady, the leading actor of the Ballad of the Songbird and Snakes, she had a voice on her. I'll be honest with you. She had some lungs, but it did give you country vibes. So embrace, if you will, to be out of that box if country music is not your thing. But I'll tell you, I love music. Music is the universal language. So bear with the writing. It is dope. I love the writing in this movie and the creativity, and most definitely the fit checks. If you guys have witnessed or watched a Hunger Games, you'll know that the fit checks are a plus. But let's get into it, right? Why am I even talking about this on the podcast? It's not to promote the Hunger Games. You guys have made enough money. But there was something triggering for me that was in the movie that I wanted to share with you guys. And just for the simple fact that I play by the rules and I play the long game, I'm not going to get into details about the spoiler of the movie or some of the things that were triggering. But I want to call it out because I can't be the only one who thought this while witnessing the Ballad of the Songbird and Snakes, that being the Hunger Games franchise. Some of the things were in your face, but at the same time were subliminal as I was watching the movie. And I'll say it again, due to graphic nature, I won't get into it just because YouTube and Spotify has its rules about certain nature and certain languages. Right now, I want to play by the rules, okay? But I would not mention them on this pod. However, I mentioned the Ballad of the Songbird and the Snakes and how there was a character portrayed in the movie who was known as, let's just say, a songstress. And there was power in her ability to sing, or was it? I'll leave that there for you to decide. However, some of the lyrical content, I'm going to say that her, and I can't remember her name, so I'm sorry, but the lead actor, her name was Lucy Gray. Lucy Gray, the actor or the character in the movie, was singing a song, and it gave me Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday. And for those that don't know about Strange Fruit, it is probably one of the most eerie songs, but yet at the same time, one of the most beautiful songs that has been put lips and vocal cords to mic by that of Billie Holiday in 1939. The purpose of the song Strange Fruits was Billie Holiday's way to protest as she went through the Chitlin circuit and through some of the jazz clubs to protest lynching of Black Americans. And I'm not sure if it was the cinematography pull in for the audience, or was it to pour on melancholy towards the oppressed? Or was it a parallel remix to Billie Holiday's intent that she had with Strange Fruit? But I didn't get it. But I witnessed it, and I don't have a problem being open-minded to a fantasy. I don't have a problem being open-minded to entertainment. But if you're trying to edutain me, I'm gonna call some things out, right? And again, due to the freshness of the release date of the movie, I don't want to speak about details of the movie. But I will challenge you, if you are, I would call this a sci-fi or a suspense, if you will. Not necessarily a thriller, but it does include graphic nature, that being some pium, okay? But I will say that this movie depicted or portrayed something that was quite triggering to me, and I don't think I'm alone on what I viewed. And the narrative was being pushed over and over and over, and I'm like, am I the only one in this theater that feels this way? Go watch it. Tell me what you think. Reach out to me personally. Or I will say this, it's quite obvious. But I want you to think about two things when you go into this movie. Have an open mind, because it was a great movie, right? It sounds like I'm yin and yanging the subject matter of this movie, or this ain't a movie review. I just want to call out some things that may be triggering to some people when it comes to the depiction or the cinematography of trying to make a point. And I'll say it again, and I'm off of it. You did it over and over again. Nor did I get the use of the thing that rhymes with use. I just didn't get it. I'm like, it's 2023, and you're still putting this in the face of Americans. Have we not grown? And I'm not saying erase history, but history has a way of repeating its ugly head. And this was one. And that was the acceptance piece of what I had to deal with while watching this movie. Yes, eating popcorn, right? And having a few sweets that I don't need. Let's just be honest. However, I'm like, hey, yo, was this the intent? If so, you got me. But let me just say this. There was one character in this movie that bodied her ability to be a 5-star thespian. And that's none other than Viola Davis. And the puns that were in the movie were quite dope. A la How to Get Away with Murder. I see what you guys did there. I caught that. And I loved it. But let me tell you something about Viola Davis. She can take a script, flip it, and she can execute it so well. And I love the way that you don't have to over exaggerate her as an individual versus the perms, her versus the body style, her versus her eye type, her lips, her natural teeth. I just love her organic self that she brings to the table when it comes to theater. Oh my gosh, put her on Broadway, flight, I'm going. But Viola Davis was in the joint, and I'm telling you, she bodied her character. Go see it. It was quite entertaining. And if you're like me, where it's kind of been hit or miss for some of these movies, I will say that this is a lengthy movie. And you guys know I love me some lengthy movies because I don't feel cheated. Now, I'll leave you with this, and I'm off of this. I said that before, right? But if this is what the art of cinema does to the audience, carry on. But carry on smartly. Guys, on a more melancholy note, if you will, or a settling note, I should say, I'm going to ask if you guys remember Detective Brett Hankinson. You guys remember him, right? Out of Louisville, right? Former officer who fired shots during a botched raid in 2020. You guys remember 2020, right? I mean, we will be talking about 2020 in the history books, if not amongst each other's, until our generations will no longer remember what 2020 did to us as a civilization. But this gentleman, or this man, I should say, or let me call it what it is, this detective was facing civil rights charges for excessive force. Well, let me call it what a TI is, right? Ain't no justice in this case. Because just last week, a federal judge declares a mistrial in what? Yeah, you remember, the Breonna Taylor case. In the latest attempt to hold a Louisville officer accountable for the death of Breonna Taylor, some facts were missing, some things were omitted, some things were case closed. Nonetheless, in order for there to be justice, a whole new case has to be birthed or resignated. That's going to be more time. So thoughts and prayers to the Breonna Taylor family. Now, I'm going to give you some tyology here. Dexter Wade, 37-year-old Mississippi man, was struck by a vehicle. Follow me. Was struck by a vehicle. And let's just cut out a little chunk that's missing, because guess what? It's missing to me. It's missing to news reporters. It was missing to the family. But Dexter Wade, a 37-year-old, need I say it, black man, was ran over by a vehicle. And there was no attempt to find out who is this gentleman, who is he related to. Let's call this next of kin, or his primary next of kin. There was no attempt for the knock or the P-knock, which are the primary next of kin and the next of kin. This happened back in March of 2023. Just recently, the man's body was dug up. Why? Because his mother put it out there in March. And we talked about the Ebony Alert the other day, right? About missing children and missing young women. We talked about the Ebony Alert. Could this be a case study where the Ebony Alert could actually help in some cases? I don't know. I'm trying to tie it together, and I'm trying to make sense, but follow me, if you will, of where I'm going. The mother reached out to precincts all across her region, and this is out of Jackson, Mississippi. No, we haven't seen him, ma'am. I'm sorry. And recently she was called by the police officer or authorities to say that, hey, we have an idea that we've identified Dexter Wade, which is her son. And she said, well, tell me, what's going on? Is he okay? She's been putting APBs out on all social media platforms. Have you seen this guy? Have you seen my child? Have you seen this brother? Nothing. So they said, yes, ma'am, we have some information for you. However, we're going to have the chief to reach out to you immediately. After all of this time has passed by, she pretty much conceded to the fact that Mr. Wade may no longer be here, so she's preparing herself. The bottom line was this man was buried with no attempt to notify any type of next of kin. And according to the authorities, their defense have been there was no ID, We've had no ability to reach any type of next of kin or anybody that may know this individual. Now, think about that for a second. I'm being facetious, but at the same damn time, I'm being honest. When you go to Walmart, there are tons and tons of cameras, and they call it the new gotcha. But when you get a receipt at Walmart now, they say, do you want to print or do you want to text? I can't remember if it says email or not, but they ask you, do you want to do one of these two things? So with all the technology is where I'm going, right? All the coding and all the embarking upon technology, we have no way to even get this man fingerprint and identify him that way. But nonetheless, he was hit. And let me just be more specific because I may have left it out. He was hit by an off-duty police officer, allegedly in a squad car or POV. Nonetheless, he had the know-how of reporting an incident like this. Not to just say it was a hit and run, let's bury the body, out of sight, out of mind. No, they knew procedure and protocol. Now, I'm tying Breonna Taylor and Dexter Wade for one reason and one reason only. I go hard because I want more of a better track record. But you guys know where I have been on these situations, and they call him the Black Attorney General. For what reason? Pardon me. I don't know. But yet Attorney Ben Crump is handling this case. Now, I got to ask, Mr. Crump, Attorney Ben Crump, are you ambulance chasing for the sake of, and I hate to use this, but now, and I heard it before on another podcast, it ain't cream, cash rules everything around me. It's clout. Clout rules everything around me. Clout. That's the new currency, clout. Attorney Ben Crump, are you chasing these civil cases for the sake of settlement? And as I mentioned before, guys, this is almost like a tie in sports where there are no winners. You just put in a separate category by yourself. Are these money grabs for you? I saw your Netflix special because I think you're a quite interesting man. I love what you're doing. However, the win-loss record is somewhat suspect. And I think we as a people representing the community of civil rights want to see a better win record. So again, Breonna Taylor's case, mistrial. This guy's case is new, it's brewing. You're going to hear more about it, but Attorney Ben Crump and his firm are on this case. Speaking of the loss of loved one, we got to talk about this season of Thanksgiving. A lot of people get into a very blue or a sad or a melancholy state of mind because of the holidays. Some folks are missing loved ones. It could be the change of season or the weather. It could be missed opportunities that were set back in 2022 for goals of 2023 that were not achieved or missed for whatever reason whatsoever. But it could have been expectations not met. But I'm asking all of you, if you can hear it in my voice, if you can hear the soothing tone of my voice, which means I'm not yelling, I'm not screaming. I'm pretty much making a plea for you. Please find a way to cope. Please find a way to deal. And let me just be honest with you as an experienced truth teller. Everybody is not your friend. Not everyone's qualified to hear, understand, and help you process through your problems. I'm telling you, if you're really struggling, inbox me. I got a friend and I would love to introduce you to them. But I will say, find a way to cope. Find that exit ramp for things that are beyond your control and embrace not social media, not gossip, not some of this trash TV that we see, not some of these fake couples goals that are toxic as hell, But find that exit ramp for things that are beyond your control and embrace reality. So find a way to cope. This too shall pass. Allow this time frame to get through on its own organic calendar flip. You can only control what you can control, right? I think we learn this day by day, but don't ignore it. Don't put it in the box and put it in the bottom of the closet or the top of the attic. Face it head on and take it the best way you possibly can. Not my way, not somebody else's way. Find it for yourself, but please don't ignore it, because what it may do is grow into a bigger problem than what can be resolved if you just take it step by step, inch by inch. It's a cinch. So please cope the best way you possibly can. If I can just offer this suggestion of help, right? I always talk about the derivatives of hip hop. And we're seeing a trend right now. And I wonder what 2024 and even 2025 or the next 5 to 10 years of what hip hop, more specific, the subject in hip hop, rap music, is going to look like then. We have some cherishable archives right now. We got some GOATs right now. We got some living icons. We have some legends. We have some that paved the way that are no longer here, that have set the way in hip hop, let alone rap music. But if you start to see the trend, a lot of new up and coming rappers, or rappers that are hot, or should I say clout and trending rappers, are finding a way out of the music spectrum and are going into the social media spectrum, or are turning into personas more so than they are MCs. Let me give you an offer, or let me offer you a suggestion for some of those coping ways, because this to me is one of those avenues where we start to see top MCs, top rappers transition into a new lane, the reinvention of thyself. And I'm talking about something that dropped on Friday. A dope element, a dope piece of work. A lot of people were not expecting it, but I will say this. It is causing some controversy when it comes to subjectivity of the transition of hip hop, the transition of a rapper, the transition of an MC, more specifically, the transition of a dope MC. A la, will we get another record from Jay-Z? Will we get another record from K. Kendrick Lamar? Drake is showing us he can re-improve, he can reinvent, he can shift. He's agile in this space of rap music. The man is somewhat flexible and creative. Will we get another album of art from Kanye that's a bop and a slap, but yet give us that subjective thing that we all want to talk about, Kanye? But why don't we talk about the transition of Mr. Benjamin? 3 Stacks, 3K, Johnny Vulture, Dre, Sonny Bridges, Mr. Hey Ya, Mr. Shake It Like a Polaroid Picture. You guys get what I'm talking about. I'm talking about André 3000's new record that dropped last Friday called New Blue. The streets are killing it. It ain't for everybody, right? It gets to a point, and as I ask you this, take a moment and think about it. When you get in your car, do you put on, for those XM lovers, do you put on Rock the Bells? Do you put on Hip Hop Nation? Do you put on The Heat? Do you put on Shade 45? Right? Or I forgot Drake's other channel, or his newest channel that he created. Do you put that on? Or if you have just an FM radio station, are you saying to hell with that? Too many commercials. I'm just going to stream my Spotify Bluetooth into my car. But let me ask y'all this. When you get in the car, what rapper are you listening to? I'll wait. And are you satisfied with that rapper or MC? Because you have MCs now who are doing call and responses that are not necessarily a rap song. It's more of a call and response. What am I talking about? It becomes a bop or a hit because TikTok gave it its 7 seconds or its 7 seconds of fame. But Mr. Three Stacks, Mr. Benjamin, has given us a new form of transition. Your podcasters, some of your talk-a-lots, your chatty patties, some people who are subjectively one-dimensional. And I'm not poo-pooing on anybody. All I'm saying is, how open is your mind when it comes to creativity? Because I'm going to be honest with you. I Like the Way You Move is not like a song that you thought you would hear out of an MC or a rap group. But yet you saw that little baby that was between 5 and 10 years old on the dance floor, jumping up and down. But you also saw someone's grandma or auntie or auntie or aunt or nana or someone, big mama. They were out moving. Boom, boom, boom. You saw him out on the dance floor when that bop came on. It was one of them joints where you knew that bottom and that bass was going to get him on the floor. But also, that Outkast sound is just something incredible. But if you think about the Atty Aliens record, the So Fresh and So Clean record, the Prototype joint, when they did the Idlewild movie and soundtrack, Sir Lucia's Left Foot, Benjamin, Three Stacks, when they all transitioned from Southern Playalistic, you guys knew that we was on to something special. But I'm going to tell you something. This record or this album, New Blue, does not give us anything we haven't heard before. This record gives you studio cut and slice. What am I saying? Some of you engineers know exactly what I'm talking about. But in the studio, you almost have to record on editable separate tracks. That being from the drums or beat, that being from the synthesizer or the keyboard, that being from both vocals and background vocals, that being a DJ and also ad-libs. You almost have to put them track on top of track on top of track. But if you've ever enjoyed an Outkast song, I want to be clear of who I'm talking about here. You've heard some of the same symphonic melodies and also soothing melodic sounds that you hear in this album, New Blue. I'll say it again, the streets are killing this album. I don't want to hear no damn flute folk. You know how people talk, you know how they turn up, right? We want the smoke, but we don't want no sauce. You know what I mean? And it's funny to hear people's interpretation of this record because it lets you know how one-dimensional some people are. Now, I talked about coping throughout the season. I'm a hip-hop head. But at the same time, you guys will hear me transition into the warehouse music. Frankie Knuckles. You guys will hear me talk about, in the beginning, there was Jack, and Jack had a groove. And from that groove, you guys are going to hear me talk about that sermon at a later date. But I'll be honest, some of my priority bops that I put into a car on a long road ride or some melodic thinking, I put on instrumental, soulful house. peep the Macadon Soulful House rooms, if you will, please. If you guys haven't copped that already. Matter of fact, look in the description below. You'll see the link to that. Let's get it. But this record, New Blue, a lot of individuals have a problem, and I'm just going to say it and step on a few. A lot of people have a problem separating the art from the artist. I mentioned that about Aura. I'm mentioning this about Benjamin, Mr. André. Okay. This is a joint you want to put on when you get home, when you want to wind down, when you want to feel good, and most importantly about subjective listening. It gives you a wellness, orgasms, and most importantly, a tomfoolery detox. This album has no age, but it will put you in a particular headspace. For those of you out there killing creative thinkers and those that have a problem with people swimming upstream, shame on you. No need to be judge and jury of this next level thinking, and also the transition of ways that hip hop artists may be finding their way. You know, the cancel culture that we're in, try not to cancel people out so fast. And speaking of which, just in case I said something, a noun, a pronoun, an adjective, a pronoun, or even an expletive that may have made you feel away, don't hold me to it, guys. You know what it is. I'm just here to pod. Happy Thanksgiving. Give thanks. Share it with others. If you feel it in your heart, call someone that you may not have spoken to in a while and just say, I'm grateful for what we have. Until we meet again, guys. Peace.